One day everything you built stops making sense. The woman who swears she'd stay leaves. The plan that felt unbreakable crumbles. You stare at your life and realize you were never in control. That's where most men collapse. They cling to what was, replay memories, rewriting the story, begging reality to change. They drown in shoulds and what ifs, trying to rebuild a life that no longer exists. But the few who rise, they do something different. They stop fighting the loss. They let the old version of themselves die with it. Because that's what loss really is, an initiation. Most people never pass that test. They confuse pain with punishment, forgetting that every collapse is an invitation to evolve. When you lose what you thought defined you, you meet the part of you that can't be destroyed. That's where real power begins. Not in control, but in surrender. Not in cleaning, but in acceptance. You can spend years resisting what's already gone. Or you can learn the hardest simple truth. Everything you lose was never yours to keep. It was given to shape you, then taken to free you. Every time you replay what should have happened, you bleed strength. You relive the argument, the moment she left, the deal that slipped through your finger. Each replay steals life from the present moment. Resistance is a quiet leak, attacks on your spirit. You call it thinking it through, but what you're really doing is feeding the wound. Every why did this happen is a small surrender of energy. Every it wasn't supposed to be this way compounds interest and pain. You don't lose energy because life is hard. You lose it because you keep fighting what's already written. The real cost isn't emotional, it's operational. Your reaction time slows, your clarity dulls. You move half present, half bitter. You think you're solving something, but you're just looping the past. And every loop weakens you. Most men are trained to never accept defeat. We wish for the comeback, the fighter who never quits. But somewhere along the way, we twisted that lesson. We confused acceptance with surrender. We think letting go means losing. So we cling to the women who left, the title we lost, the version of ourselves that no longer exists. We grab so tightly that we stop growing. Because holding on doesn't perceive power, it drains it. The ego refuses to accept loss because it wants to be right. It would rather define the illusion than evolve beyond it. That's how most men die inside. Not from failure, but from the refusal to release what's already gone. You lose a job and replay the unfairness instead of adapting. She leaves and you turn her absence into your identity. This is a quiet death of masculine power. When this happened becomes, this happened to me. Victimhood feels safe because it gives you something to hold. An excuse, a reason, a story. But safety isn't strength, it's decay. The moment you trade responsibility for comfort, your spirits start to rot. You begin to exchange power for pity, purpose for validation, truth for attention. Life doesn't own you balance. It only offers raw materials, chaos, loss, change, and dares you to build something with it. What acceptance actually means. Acceptance isn't pretending you're fine. It's not spiritual numbness or passive detachment. It's the removal of fiction. Most men mistake acceptance for weakness, as if surrendering to reality means giving up on change. But acceptance isn't the opposite of strength. It's the foundation of it. Acceptance is connect with what is. It's what lets you move forward without leaking energy into resistance. When something painful happens, you have a small window. Maybe 10 seconds before your mind starts spinning stories. This shouldn't have happened. Why me? I will never recover. The stories are optional. The event is not. That's where the Stoic draws the line. Feel it, accept it, act. Feel the hit, don't suppress it. Accept what's real, don't add fiction. Then act from clarity, not chaos. Most men leave the fiction phase. They build identity out of unfinished stories. The Stoic trains himself to move through that window fast. Not because he's cold, but because he values his power. Epictetus wrote, something happened that you wish had not. Which can you change? Your opinion or the event? That single question is a mirror. If the event is fixed, the only move left is internal. The Stoics called this the art of acquiescence, aligning your will with reality instead of fighting it. Marcus Aurelius lived it under conditions that would break most men. Loss, war, plague. Yet his journals weren't filled with complaints, only reminders. Is this within my control? If not, then let it go. For him, Stoicism wasn't philosophy, it was survival. He didn't try to control the storm, he became calm enough to walk through it. Our battles look different now. They're digital, mental, invisible, but the inner war hasn't changed. Every day your attention is under siege. Noise, comparison, criticism, distraction. Most men fight ghosts, think they can't control, and call it ambition. They chase perfection, revenge, validation, burning out while convincing themselves they're driven. The Stoic man plays a different game. He saves his power. He doesn't waste motion on what's already gone. He acts where his hand can reach. His habits, his focus, his response. That's the tactical age of acceptance. While others complain, he recalibrates. While others resist, he redirects. He becomes anti-fragile. Not because life gets easier, but because he stops accepting it too. Acceptance isn't passivity, it's precision. It's the moment you stop fighting reality and start using it. Nietzsche wrote, my formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati. To want nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not for all eternity. At first, it sounds insane. Why would any man want the heartbreak, the failure, the betrayal, the loss. Why wish to relive the moments that broke you? But Nietzsche wasn't glorifying pain. He was describing alchemy, the transformation of suffering into strength. Most people stop at acceptance. It happened. I will move on. Amor Fati goes further. It happened, and I'm better because of it. It's not about liking the suffering, it's about seeing its function. Every event becomes training. Every setback becomes refinement. You stop labeling experience as good or bad. You start asking, what is this shaping in me? That's the shift from emotional reaction to strategic gratitude. From resistance life to using it. You get fired, the business collapses, the thing that you thought defined you evaporates. You lose money, momentum, confidence, and maybe your sense of self. But what you really lose is the illusion of control. Through the lens of Amor Fati, good. Now I know what to build. Now I'm free to rebuild smart. Failure becomes data, not dumb. You stop identifying with outcomes and start mastering the process. You tear something. You're forced to stop training. Most men lose both. Patience and identity, because their body was their confidence. Amor Fati says, good, this forces me to develop patience, humility, and strategy. The injury becomes a teacher. The body heals, but the mind evolves. You lose money, an investment, a year of work. Most men call it bad luck. The Stoic calls it tuition. Through the lens of Amor Fati, this exposed weak systems early. Better now than where the stakes are high. Every loss pays for future wisdom. If you collect the lesson instead of the resentment, Amor Fati rewires your relationship with life. You stop being the victim of circumstance and become the author of meaning. Nothing happens to you anymore. Everything happens for you. Gratitude replaces resentment with awareness. Over time, your mind starts scanning for advantage instead of adversity. You stop justifying pain and extract value from it. This isn't naive optimism. It's pragmatic stoicism. Not everything happens for a reason, but I create the reasons through how I respond. That's why Amor Fati is ultimate power. You become untouchable. Not because life stops testing you, but because every test becomes fuel. Let's make something clear. Amor Fati isn't comfort. It's not a motivational quote or a just stay positive mantra. It's not blind faith or emotional numbness. It's warrior philosophy. Reality first, feelings second. You're not meant to like what happened. You're meant to face it. You can curse, cry, or rage. Just don't build the house there. Amor Fati isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about confronting the truth with open eyes and steady breath. You don't fake peace, you forge it. Through honesty, awareness, and conscious response. That's real strength, not denials dressed as wisdom. Acceptance isn't quitting, it's repositioning. You stop fighting the past so you can fight smarter for the future. You can accept the loss and still plan your next move with precision. You can bend without breaking. That's not weakness, that's adaptability. Acceptance doesn't kill ambition, it clears the emotion fog that clouds it. Once you stop wasting energy on what should have been, you can use it to build what can be. This isn't everything happens for a reason, it's will create a reason worth everything that happened. Amor Fati doesn't hand power to fate, it reclaims it. You stop waiting for meaning, you make meaning. That's the difference between belief and embodiment, between the man who seeks comfort and the man who builds character. Amor Fati isn't a mindset shift, it's a lifelong conditioning. Each act of acceptance is a wrap. Each wrap compounds into calmness, clarity, and conviction. Over time, it shapes a presence. When others panic, you stay composed. The calm under fire earns respect more than any words ever could. People follow the man who doesn't flinch when the storm hits. Leadership isn't about control, it's about censure. Resentment blurs vision. It keeps you stuck in should've. Acceptance clears the lens. You start seeing what's real, not what you wish was. Your moves get sharper, timing improves, you stop leaking energy, and you start channeling it into precision. Reaction is emotional, response is strategic. That's the line between amateurs and masters. Each time you face reality and adapt, you evolve. Pain no longer breaks you, it builds you. Resistance becomes raw material for strength. Every hardship becomes a gem for a soul. You stop fearing chaos because you've learned how to turn it into fuel. When you stop resisting what is, peace stops hiding from you. Happiness detaches from outcomes. Freedom isn't about control, it's about flow. You stop chasing calm, you embody. That's Amor Fati mastered. Not a man free from struggle, but a man unfazed by it. A man life can shake because he's already said yes to all of it. Now, go back to the moment, the loss, the breakup, the collapse. Two men stands there, same pain, same chaos. One crumbles, the other constructs. What separates them isn't luck, it's perspective. One resists reality, the other accepts it, then bends it into fuel. So ask yourself, what are you still fighting that's already over? What pain are you carrying that could become your power? That heart to break, that failure, that betrayal, it's not in your way, it's the way. That's the essence of Amor Fati. Don't just accept what happens, own it, love it, because it's already part of your story. Waiting to forge you, not finish you. Life isn't asking for your permission, it's waiting for your response. As Epictetus said, don't seek for everything to happen as you wish, but wish it happens as it does, and your life will flow well. See you in the next one. Peace.